Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll try, but this is a very interesting topic. Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute to this, and I must congratulate my colleague, Honorable Makali, for bringing it on. Madam Speaker, drug and substance abuse is a big problem in this country, affecting mainly the young. It is a complex phenomenon involving our social structure, our family structure, availability of these substances and drugs in the community. And you find that they are in schools, in shopping centers, they are in clubs, wherever people get together, particularly young people, somehow these are available. Sometimes they come in formats that people argue as to whether there's the substances of abuse or drugs. Just last week we were talking about Velon, which is definitely a nicotine derivative, and we are wondering whether it is one. They come in all those forms, in many disguised forms. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, it also involves individual predisposition and the family circumstances, so that you will find that even in a family, one person may actually be affected or the others are not affected. In a school, so that it's all aspects of the society we must look at. But in the end, when persons are affected, it results into a mental illness, and then it becomes completely difficult to manage, because the hallmarks of mental illness is lack of insight, which means the affected person does not realize that he or she is unwell and will therefore not seek treatment. And worse still, will not abide by the treatment that is given. So will not adhere to the treatment that is given. So it becomes very complex, and it affects people in their very youthful period when they are very vulnerable. Another aspect at this time is actually physical addiction, which means the person is physically and physiologically addicted, and without it they actually get physically sick. So they will now look for this drug, and that is what brings behavior that will include even theft, even violence, just to get a means of sustaining this habit. At that problem, Madam Speaker, at that point, Madam Speaker, we have a big problem in our hands. And if it's affecting a lot of people, young people, then we have to look at it. Unfortunately, our health system for a long time has not actually recognized this as an illness that should be looked at in that context, and not as a behavioral problems. So then we have not really devised or put in place. Fortunately now, even from the legal status, we are looking at it, and we are keep putting up centers, and that is why I support this motion that calls for many centers to be established. So, Madam Speaker, as we do that, the basic issue that we should look at is actually prevention. The value of prevention cannot be underestimated in this. Madam Speaker, I'll give you a simple example that will tell us how, will show us how prevention is important. In this country, by around 1982, we had so much measles that during the measles season, in just one ward of 50 beds, you would have as many as 200 children that are affected, and as many as 5 will die daily. When vaccination was introduced early in the 70s and by 1984 became very effective, from 1984 to 2005, we did not have a single case of measles. That's how it works, and that is where we should look at this. And therefore, the Ministry of Interior and NACADA must really bring up programs that will address mainly prevention as we expand to give rehabilitation that includes detoxification and therefore a social rehabilitation. With that, Madam.
The Honorable Member for Samburu County, Honorable Pauline Lenguris.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I stand to support the motion. That it's important, Madam Speaker, to set up strategies on how to help our youths who are really engaged in drug abuse and substance abuse. And Madam Speaker,